So it's Thursday. I graded second period's tests. I got depressed. I made another twin because there's going to be a retake. I'm depressed because I just can't burn time like that, but I'm also depressed because I just don't get what's going on in your little heads. All right, range. Range is your output, your values of y. All right here is your low y value. That's where y is 0. And we rise until 5. And this territory is covered. You get this other piece over here, but it's covered in it too. So 0 to 5 is part of my range. 0 to 5, inclusive, because these are solid dots. And then we have nothing. There's literally nothing here. But we have nothing until we hit a y value of 6. A lot of you guys just don't even understand what x and y are, and it is blowing my mind. Domain is going to be your input, where your pencil is when you draw. Your pencil is not at 3. Your pencil is at x equals -6. And your pencil continues until x is -2. But anyways, your input is your x values. And again, my pencil starts at -6, and that's a solid dot. And I keep drawing until my pencil is at -2, or my pen here, with an open dot, so parentheses. And then I have to start over here. And my pencil starts at where x is 0. And I continue drawing until x is 5. Then I have to pick my pencil up. I start here, and I move right. It doesn't say how long. I probably should have put an arrow there, but we'll just say 7. We'll just say it stops at 7, because I have no idea what goes on after that. So from 5 to 7. Now, because one of these is a bracket and one of these is a parentheses, this is actually the formally correct way to do it. But most people, and it is accepted, will write this thing right here as 0 to 7. The author of your textbook does that. So it's okay. All right? It's okay. Intervals where the graph is increasing, there's only one. It happens here. It starts when the x value is 2, stops when the x value is 5. I'm going to write that out too, because some of y'all just don't get it. Starts when x is 2, stops when x is 5. So that's written 2 to 5 as an interval. That is not an ordered pair. X-intercepts are where you cross the x-axis. My God, the number of kids who missed that in second period blew my mind. Oh, how do you miss that? How do you not know how to look at a graph and find an x-intercept? I don't know how to fix that. But you cross the x-axis right there at the ordered pair 2, 0. And again, the number of people in second period who missed y-intercepts, it's right there. It's at 0, 2. Oh, please don't miss it. Average rate of change, which is slope. And you've been doing slope since you were in 7th grade. Average rate of change, slope, from -3 to 0. And that's from x equals -3 to x equals 0. You didn't have to have a formula. You just had to literally go, okay, x is 0 here. Sorry, I had to go to -3, put a point. All right. And then I go to 0, and the graph is there. Even though there's a gap, the value of the function changed. It fell 1 as it ran 3. That's the average rate of change. 1 over 3. Fell 1, ran 3. Anyways, there's that, kids. That's 1 through 6. All right, 7, a line passed through the points. -1, 4, and 5, 6 was the equation of this line. You know what's going to kill all but maybe 7 or 8 of you is the fact that you just won't memorize. Why won't you memorize? How long did it take you to learn your ABCs? Because it must have been third grade before you had them figured out. Memorize that thing. While you're at it, memorize this thing. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm trying to get you to memorize. Memorize. So my slope is going to be 6 minus 4, sitting pretty over 5 minus the negative 1. 6 minus 4 is 2, 5 minus negative 1 is 6, reduction to 1/3. And then I just throw away a point because I'm going to use this to get x1 and y1, which is what this guy wants. All right, I'm plugging into that thing. Y minus 4 equals 1/3 of x minus a negative 1. Don't act like you didn't do this in Algebra 1. Don't act like Buckley didn't do this with you. Taking away negatives addition. I'm sure you've heard of the distributive property. And we're going to add 4 to both sides. Now 4 happens to be 12 over 3. So that's what I'm actually going to show being added. If you don't know 4 is 12 over 3, you need to get smarter. There you go. There's your equation. It is. All right, the graph of y equals negative absolute value of x minus 3 plus 4 is reflected across the x-axis. Now the rule on this for an x-axis or a vertical reflection, however it's presented, is f of x becomes negative f of x. And notice where that negative symbol is, it's in front of the entire function. So here I'm going to introduce a negative symbol in front of that guy. Negative absolute value x minus 3 plus 4. When I distribute here, I become positive. Positive symbols are understood. When I distribute here, a negative times a positive has been negative. It always has been, always will be. When you have offspring, it'll still be a negative times a positive is negative. It's not going to change. All right, number 9. Over what intervals is the graph of y equals negative 2 plus the absolute value of x plus 6 decreasing? I can do these in my head, but I picture the graph in my head. And what kills me about you guys is, watch this, watch this, watch this. You guys had TI-84s in front of you, and you didn't do this. You could have gone to y equals. You could have typed in negative 2 plus math num abs x plus 6 and then a zoom 6. You'd be like, oh, okay, right there. I'm decreasing from here to here. That's what you could have done. But you didn't do it. Anyways, it works best if you figure out how to do this stuff in your head, and you can't do it in your head until you've done this for a while. This is a left 6 shift, because that's negative down 2. So that put me right there. It's absolute value, it's a V. It's just a rough sketch. This path right here is decreasing. This is decreasing. And it started right there when the x value was negative 6. So as I take my pencil, x becomes negative 7, negative 8, negative 9, negative 10, negative 11, and so forth, all the way back to infinity. So you can either write x as less than negative 6, or, because it's probably multiple choice, negative infinity to negative 6. Number 10, and then I'm going to pause, because I'm just getting angry doing this thing again. Not going to lie, I am. Identify the transformations of the parent function f of x is the absolute value of x that gives g of x is negative 3 minus 2 absolute values of x plus 3. Is a select all on your test. It is. Please don't change my Roman numerals. So let's write this in a more standard form. That might help you. I don't know. And just think about the stuff you have. You've got this negative symbol out front. That is an x-axis reflection. It became negative. It was positive. This guy, it deals with input. Input is left to right. It's horizontal, and it's always opposite sign. It's a horizontal shift, and it is left 3. Then there's this little guy. That little guy is the vertical shift. Down 3. Oh, and then there's this 2. That's a vertical stretch. It changes the slope from 1 to 2. Instead of rising 1 and running 1, it now rises 2 as it runs 1. That is a vertical stretch. There's your transformations. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to pause. I just did half of it. Take me a break. Calm my nerves.